Christmas Overture Violin 2. In measure, first of all, look at measure 19, 18, 17, 16. This is going to be divided in the second violin part. So you should plan to play the lower notes here, E flat, D, C, and then we come back together in measure 18. Now in measure 19, we have a little run. We're just going up the scale, but bear in mind you have an E flat and a B flat. So it's going to go like this. One E and Now I'm going to do that a little bit faster and continue on. Maybe before I continue on, let's look at the last two beats of measure 21. One E and Okay, now we're going to go back to measure 19 and do it a little bit more up to tempo. One and then there's, in that measure 22, there's a fermata over the D, so we're going to hold it however long Mr. Richard says. And then there are the two lines there that indicate a caesura, so a complete break in the music. Then there's a rest before we come in on the downbeat of 23. So you'll just be able to watch me there. Now moving on down to measure 35. Again, we have a little scale sort of passage. You might want to practice it with separate bows first. We could do that once. One E and a 2E and a 3E. Now let's do it in one bow. Notice we come in on the and of 3. So it's 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, now we're going to pick it up right in measure 36. Even though we only have B flat and E flat in the key signature here, we also have some D flats and some G flats and some A flats. So it's actually more like we're playing in D flat major, and you've practiced the scale for that. So you're going to have, on the E string, you'll have a low 3, you'll have a low 2, you'll have a low 3 on the A string. Actually, maybe the best place to start is in measure 40 on beat 2, because we can practice all the notes sort of that we're using here. So we'll do that just with separate bows. Not even with any particular rhythm. Ready, go. There's a G flat, low 4, low 3. Okay, now also on the E string, let's just practice what the E string notes would be. So we won't have any open E's here because we have E flat, not E natural. So the first note you would be able to play on the E string is an F, that's a low 1. And then a G flat would be a half step above it, so 1 and 2 will touch. Make sure you're on the inside corners. This is a G flat. Then A flat is a low 3, but because you're playing a low 2, it's a whole step between 2 and 3. And then fourth finger would be a B flat, and that's a low 4. But it's still a whole step between 3 and 4 because we played a low 3. And go back down. B flat, A flat, G flat. Okay. Now I'm going to start right on measure 36. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Here comes the low 2, low 3, low 4, low 3, low 4, low 4, low 4 on the G, low 3, 2, 3. Now notice in measure 41, in the last 3 notes, we don't have an A flat marked anymore, so that's actually not a low 3. So let's just do beat 4 of measure 41. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay,